Welcome back to segment number three of Super Bowl 101, and we're going to do some reflections on the 2022 season. Before we get to that, though, here is the segment number three Super Bowl 101 trivia question. Which player has won the most Super Bowl rings in history? And I will have the answer later in this segment. Well, now for some reflections on this past 2022 NFL season. The Jets, Giants, and Dolphins were the biggest surprise teams in the NFL this season. The Jets fell just short of the playoffs, but the Giants and Dolphins did make the wild card round of the playoffs, but neither one of those teams were able to get past their opposing team. Uh, but they were one of the biggest surprises, and they really came alive and really had a better year than what they had in past years. And the Jets really had a better season as well, I felt so. And they still have pieces of the puzzle to fill, the Jets, and so do other teams as well. The San Diego Chargers, who are an incredibly talented team, had a lousy season. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who made the playoffs, but lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round of the playoffs. Did not have what was expected from them, and a lot of people were thinking that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to get past KC, but then there were fans that felt that they were not. A lot felt that they were not, and I was one of them that felt that Jacksonville was not, and and then we were correct on that, and that's why they did not get past. And the Jacksonville they had a few mistakes, and that's what turnovers that costed them, and that's why they did not get past the Kansas City Chiefs. The Houston Texans, they were a doormat, and they had one of their worst seasons by far, despite winning three or four games this season. But they just were not able to get it together at all, and there were some teams they played well against, but most teams they did not play well at all, and they were just an open doormat for all the NFL teams this past season. So they have the most pieces of the puzzle to fill on their team, and I do feel that that is absolutely by far. And they have the second pick in this year's NFL draft as well. So we'll see who they take with that pick. Uh, we'll get to another reflection in just a moment. But right now, actually, no, I'm going to do the other reflection right now. It's too early to reveal the answer yet. The Browns, who went 7-10 on this season, as you know, hired Jim Schwartz as their new defensive coordinator, and they have some pieces of the puzzle they need to fill. And I do feel we need to get some vets to come here because that's what we do need. And and I do feel, and we need to do well at free agency, the combine, and the NFL draft as well. And but we do need to get some vets. And Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, who served an 11 game suspension this past season and played the last six games, and a lot of rust to knock off. And he's going to be working with Stefanski during the entire Browns off season. He really wants to study this team, and because they do want to make a playoff and Super Bowl run next season in the 2023 season. And that's why I feel they have pieces of the puzzle that they need to fill. And they need to get some vets to come here, I feel. And we'll have to see who they get during this off season. And but right now, Stefanski's job is safe for now. But the Browns do need to have a better record next season. And they need to really win the opening day game, the season opener, and the home opener. And they need to really really win a lot of games next season. And we know Javon Clowney will not be back, so that's one piece of the puzzle we need to fill. And I don't think that the Browns will have the backup quarterback they had, Jacoby Brissett, this next season. I don't think they will, and so they may have to fill that piece. And so, I mean, I think there might be a few players that might not be back next year, and Kareem Hunt may not be back with the team, so we might have to fill that one. So you never know. This team does have quite a few some pieces of the puzzle that they do indeed need to fill. And we're going to talk more about this in just a sec, but and they really do. And the Washington Redskins were also a surprise. Washington Commanders, excuse me, were also a surprise team, and they were coming out hard by midway through the season, but they also came up just short of the playoffs. And they do have a few pieces of the puzzle that they need to fill. And I know they do want to make the playoffs next year, hopefully. And Alex Smith really had a dominating season, and so did Devontae Adams, who is now with that team. And I really feel that the Redskins were one of the surprise teams as well this season. And but there, besides Philly and KC being dominant, uh, I gotta say that the 49ers were they had a very successful season, even though they went through three quarterbacks and then lost Brock Purdy and had to use their fourth string, and now they've got to really get them healthy again. So we'll talk more about this in just a sec, but right now I will reveal the answer to the segment three Super Bowl 101 trivia question. Uh, which player has won the most Super Bowl rings in history? And if you said Tom Brady, you are correct. Brady is a seven-time Super Bowl champion and seven-time Super Bowl MVP. And he did just retire recently. And this time, I think it's guaranteed he is going to be retired. He does want to become an analyst for, I believe, Fox Sports and the NFL. And so that means the Bucs will be looking for a new quarterback. And they too, they did not have their greatest season. They too have some pieces of the puzzle that they need to fill as well. So they're going to be looking, as I said, for a new quarterback. Uh, but they let's see. There was another team that and the Detroit Lions. They started out not doing well, but they came on hard, and they I thought they were going to make the playoffs, but they fell just short of the playoffs. And also the Buffalo Bills were a very dominant team, but their run game was not good, and they need to really they need to get some players to make their run game a lot better. So we will have to wait and see who they can get during the offseason, free agency, the combine, and the NFL draft as well. So we will have to just wait and see what they do. The Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, they they played well in the AFC Championship, but just could not get over that hurdle. And they too need some I think just a few pieces, and because they still got Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, and they were on top midway through of the AFC. They had gotten past Baltimore to get on top, so they were dominant as well. But I know the Pittsburgh Steelers will need a few pieces of the puzzle, but they were coming on strong by the end of the season. So, well, late in the season and the end of the season. So they will need a few pieces of the puzzle as well. So, and so that's why I feel there are some teams that have pieces of the puzzle that they need to fill by far. And but all in all, this season it was an interesting and kind of an ironic 2022 NFL season because things just went either way. With some teams did not fare out well, but there were teams that did well. And the NFC really we thought was a joke, but really came on strong. Dallas did have them, but they still have some pieces of the puzzle that they have to get filled. And Dak Prescott, I think he had a really dominant season. He had a better season this year, and hopefully he'll have a better season next year with Dallas. But they will have to fill some pieces, and we will see what they do in this offseason as well. Well, coming up in the next segment, segment number 4 of Super Bowl 101, I will have legends of the gridiron. And I will have that, and that will be honoring some couple of NFL legendary players and a couple of legendary NFL uh, head coaches as well. And so stick around. There is more Super Bowl 101 coming up, leading up to kickoff of Super Bowl 57 tonight at 6:30. So stick around. We'll be back right after this.